The message arrived without warning. No coordinates, no language header. Just a single symbol pulsing in a spectrum the human eye could barely see. It wasn't the first time humanity had picked up strange transmissions from deep space, but this one was different. It carried a rhythm, almost like a heartbeat. Commander Aaron Solis stood on the observation deck of Dauntless, Earth's first interstellar diplomatic vessel, watching the pale blue planet below shrink as the ship drifted toward the void. He'd seen 1,000 launches, but this one felt heavier, like history itself was holding its breath. Humanity had finally been noticed, yet the galaxy wasn't welcoming them. The message had come from the Consortium, a council of ancient species who ruled the known sectors. Their invitation wasn't warm, it was a summons. Humans were to explain their interference in restricted systems. Aaron had laughed at that line. Interference. Humanity had barely left its own backyard. The bridge lights dimmed to a golden hue as the ship prepared for jump. Beside Aaron, Dr. Lyra Nareen adjusted her neural console, her dark hair tied back with military precision. "Telemetry stable," she murmured. "If their data's correct, we'll drop into orbit around a Class 4 Council world. Habitable, but unwelcoming, like being invited to dinner by a wolf pack," Aaron replied quietly. She smiled faintly. "Let's hope we taste bad." The Dauntless jumped. Space folded, light shattered, and for a heartbeat, silence claimed everything. Then, the stars reformed, and before them hung a sight that froze the bridge crew. An entire planet shimmered with reflective spires, orbiting within a web of light, an artificial lattice of defense and control. Ships drifted like silver insects between colossal station rings. Every line, every surface was precise, symmetrical, a civilization that had long forgotten imperfection. Aaron exhaled slowly. "So this is the heart of the galaxy." Lyra scanned the readings. "I'm detecting over 70 distinct species on comms frequencies, none of them human. Guess we're the late guests." The docking procedure began automatically, controlled by the planet's AI grid. No greeting, no translation handshake, just silence and compliance codes. Humanity, the young species, was clearly not expected to speak first. When the airlock finally opened, Aaron and his team stepped onto an illuminated platform suspended over a sea of white mist. Dozens of alien delegates stood before them, tall, crystalline forms, scaled diplomats, energy-based entities flickering within containment fields. The sheer diversity of life made the human crew seem almost primitive. A figure emerged from the crowd, tall, robed in flowing silver cloth that shimmered like liquid light. "Representative Solis of Earth," it spoke through a translator drone. "The Consortium acknowledges your species' awakening." "Appreciate the welcome," Aaron said, maintaining a calm tone, though we weren't aware our dreams needed permission. A ripple of disapproval moved through the assembly. Soft, insect-like chittering, low hums, clicking appendages. The delegate's voice sharpened. "Humanity's sudden expansion into prohibited zones disrupts balance. You were overlooked for a reason." Lyra stepped forward. "Overlooked?" "We called it isolation. You ignored us while we rebuilt from ruin. While we learned to survive." Another murmur, heavier this time. The alien's expression, if it had one, was unreadable. "You misunderstand. Your species' potential was contained. For your safety and ours." Aaron's jaw tightened. "Contained by who?" "By those who saw too much of themselves in you." The hall fell silent. Even the drones paused their hum. Lyra frowned, whispering, "They're afraid of us." The delegate turned away. "You will attend the council session at first light. Your species will be evaluated." "Evaluated?" Aaron repeated. The alien's metallic voice resonated. "To determine if your return among the stars is sustainable." Then, without another word, the hall darkened, the light fading until only the humans remained in the beam's center, surrounded by unseen watchers. Hours later, inside their assigned quarters, pristine, sterile, and eerily quiet, Aaron stared out at the cityscape. Towers of crystal glowed in perfect synchronization, like a living organism breathing in unison. "They don't want us here," Lyra said softly, joining him at the viewport. "But they're watching. Every gesture, every heartbeat," Aaron nodded. "They think we're a variable they can measure, but they don't understand what makes us human. Emotion? Unpredictability, he replied. You can't quantify a spark that refuses to die. Outside, the planet's artificial sun rose slowly, bathing the city in soft white light. Somewhere deep in that brilliance, Aaron felt something, a tension almost like the planet itself was alive, watching, waiting. The ship's AI flickered on the display. Commander, incoming encrypted signal. Source unknown. Decode it. The screen filled with static, then words appeared. Jagged, rushed, almost human. They fear you for a reason. Don't trust the Council. The truth was buried beneath their light. Lyra's breath caught. Who sent that? The AI hesitated. Origin point. Within the planet's core. Before they could react, the transmission terminated. The display dimmed and the walls seemed to hum, a low vibration running through the room like a pulse. Lyra, Aaron whispered, eyes narrowing. I think this planet's more than a capital. It's a prison. She turned to him slowly, the glow of the false sunrise reflecting in her eyes. Then what are we prisoners of? Aaron's answer came like a breath of dread, our own reputation, before we even earned it. And outside, somewhere within that flawless city of light, unseen eyes watched humanity's every move, waiting for proof that their fear was justified. The council city of Elithra shimmered beneath its false sun, a world built on symmetry, silence, and control. Every movement had purpose, every light was measured. For the humans, it felt like walking inside a living monument to perfection, and perfection was suffocating. Commander Aaron Solis had spent 3 sleepless nights studying the alien systems, quietly observing them. The walls in their quarters breathed with light pulses, synced faintly with their heartbeats. He suspected that every flicker was being recorded. Humanity had come to explain itself, but it felt more like standing trial for existing. Dr. Lyra Nareen sat beside a holographic console, her fingers hovering over a projection of alien architecture. Their energy patterns run deep underground, she murmured. It's not just infrastructure, it's biological. The entire planet could be alive, Aaron frowned. You mean sentient? Maybe not sentient, she said, but reactive. Every system is interconnected, neural, responsive, aware. It adapts to behavior, monitors emotional output. She paused, almost like it's afraid of us. That word lingered. Afraid. Humans had spent centuries chasing the stars, wondering if they'd ever be noticed. Now they were, and fear was the galaxy's first emotion toward them. A chime echoed through the chamber, a crystalline tone that seemed to vibrate through bone rather than air. The council's escort had arrived. 2 figures stood at the door, tall and graceful, their translucent skin refracting light like glass. They spoke through a melodic translator. The evaluation begins now. You will accompany us. Lyra glanced at Aaron, then deactivated the console. Let's go find out what we're guilty of. They were led through vast corridors lined with white light and moving panels that shaped themselves as they walked. Alien delegates filled the grand hall, their forms ranging from mist to machine. At the center, a massive pillar of energy pulsed with rhythmic light, the consortium core. It was said to hold centuries of galactic knowledge. The lead delegate, the same silver-robed being from before, turned toward them. Humanity has advanced beyond its containment sphere. Your technology now interferes with the outer sectors. You claim independence, yet you do not understand your impact. Aaron took a slow breath. We understand survival. We reached the stars without your help, without your protection. Survival, the alien repeated, voice metallic and serene. Yes. That is what concerns us most. A projection emerged, holographic images floating in the air. They showed human vessels in distant systems, colonies built on barren worlds, and one image that froze Lyra's heart, a shattered moon orbiting an unknown planet, its surface glassed from orbital bombardment. That wasn't us, she whispered. The alien's expression didn't change, and yet your design signatures were found. Weapons carrying human code. Energy signatures traced to Earth's shipyards. That's impossible, Aaron snapped. No human fleets ever reached that far. Then explain, the voice pressed, how humanity's mark exists in regions you have never reached. Silence filled the chamber. For a long moment, even the hum of the core quieted. Then Lyra's eyes widened as she whispered, Unless someone else used us, Aaron's voice dropped. Or someone was us and before we were ready to know. The aliens exchanged unreadable glances. The lead delegate motioned and the holograms vanished. You will be confined until the council concludes deliberation. Confinement? Aaron echoed. For what crime? For being what you are. The guards led them away through corridors that now felt less like halls of diplomacy and more like arteries of a living organism closing in. They were placed in a containment wing with a panoramic view of the planet's horizon. Lyra slumped into a seat, her voice trembling slightly. They've already judged us. They think we're a threat just by existing. Aaron looked out at the horizon, that endless white light stretching over a city that was too perfect, too precise. Maybe they're right, he said quietly. Not because we're dangerous, but because we change everything we touch. We grow where no one expects us to. He turned, noticing a faint shimmer on the wall, a distortion like heat. He moved closer and realized it wasn't a glitch. It was an interface hidden beneath the surface. He pressed his hand against it and suddenly a wave of light pulsed outward. The floor flickered and for a split second the room transformed. The walls became transparent, revealing the layers beneath the city. Vast tunnels of energy, conduits stretching deep into the planet's heart. Lyra gasped. It's the same pattern I saw in the signal. The pulse, the heartbeat. The AI's voice crackled through the comms, distorted but urgent. Commander, I've accessed the underlying network. This planet stores memory, records from civilizations long erased, and fragments of human data embedded within. Aaron's pulse quickened. Human data? From Earth? Older, the AI replied. Pre-diaspora, genetic archives, history logs. Someone placed humanity's essence here centuries before our first launch. Lyra's voice trembled. That means we weren't discovered. We were remembered. Aaron stared at her, realization dawning like sunrise through smoke. The council didn't overlook us. They buried us. The room's light dimmed suddenly. A low tone reverberated through the air, a planetary alarm. The guards outside froze mid-step, their crystalline bodies flickering erratically. The entire structure shuddered. Lyra gripped the console. What's happening? The AI responded. Something just awakened in the planet's core. A signal matching ancient human frequency, activating. Aaron looked toward the horizon where the artificial sun flared brighter, too bright, burning white like a wound tearing open the sky. Lyra, he whispered, whatever's buried down there, it's not staying buried. And as the light consumed the city skyline, the first tremor of awakening spread across Elithra. A pulse felt not in the ground, but in the hearts of every being watching. The light faded slowly, leaving behind silence so deep it felt alive. Elithra's perfect symmetry had cracked, just enough to remind its people that perfection could bleed. The artificial sun stabilized again, but every being on the planet felt the pulse that had come from the core. Commander Aaron Solis stood by the viewport, his reflection trembling in the glass. That wasn't an accident, he said quietly. Something woke up down there. Dr. Lyra Narene's hands hovered over the holo display, trying to calm the flickering readings. I'm tracking energy waves rising from the planet's lower strata, thousands of layers deep. Each pulse matches the signal we received when we arrived. So the heartbeat, Aaron muttered. It's not a message. It's a warning. Before they could speak further, the door hissed open. A familiar figure entered, the silver-robed delegate from the council. But this time its calm voice had been replaced by something almost shaken. What did you do? Aaron turned. You think we caused that? Your species carries old frequencies, the alien said. We sealed the memory of your kind for a reason. The last time the signal was active, it ended an age of stars. Lyra's eyes narrowed. What does that mean? The alien hesitated. You were not meant to wake what sleeps beneath Elithra. It is older than any empire. Older even than our histories. We called it the archive. It remembers. Too much. Aaron stepped forward. Then maybe it's time someone listened. The alien's glassy form flickered. You do not understand. The archive does not record. It remembers through creation. Everything it recalls becomes real again. When it remembers war, war returns. Lyra's heart pounded. And the signal it sent to us? Wasn't a call, the alien said darkly. It was a cry from something that remembered your kind. A deep vibration rolled through the floor again. Distant alarms echoed from the streets outside. the clear hum of the city turning discordant. Through the viewport, they saw columns of light spiraling upward from the planet's surface like beacons, each one flaring in a rhythm that mirrored a human heartbeat. Aaron's voice dropped to a whisper. That pattern. It's human. It's the same biosignal code we used in our early interstellar tests. The alien recoiled slightly. Impossible. That data was locked millennia ago. Lyra looked between them, realization dawning. They didn't overlook us, Commander. They sealed us away. We weren't just forgotten. We were erased from their history. Aaron clenched his fists. And now their memory is fighting to come back. The alien's eyes dimmed like a candle flickering. If the archive fully awakens, it will restore everything it ever recorded, even the things it feared. Your kind was among those memories. We cannot allow that. Before Aaron could respond, the walls around them shimmered. The alien guards outside had frozen mid-motion, their bodies flickering in and out of existence. The city's energy grid was collapsing. Lyra grabbed Aaron's arm. We need to get back to Dauntless. If the archive keeps spreading, it could rewrite everything on this planet. The delegate raised a trembling hand. If you leave now, you'll doom every species here. The archive responds to human presence. You are its key. Then maybe we're also its solution, Aaron said firmly. They ran through corridors now lit by erratic flashes of light. Alien structures were deforming, walls rippling like liquid glass as the planet's systems reacted to the awakening below. Elithra was no longer calm. It was remembering. As they reached a central atrium, the ground opened beneath them in a perfect circle. From below, a soft golden light rose, and within it a shape. Not metal, not stone, something in between. A human handprint burned faintly into the surface of an ancient console. Lyra's voice broke into a whisper. That's human tech, but older than anything we've built. Aaron reached toward it instinctively. The air hummed, and the console responded to his presence, projecting a hologram into the air. A woman's face, faint and static-filled, her expression calm, yet urgent. If you're seeing this, the voice said, then the seal is broken. Humanity's memory was buried to protect the galaxy, not from others, but from ourselves. The Council feared our capacity to adapt, to become what we face. They erased us to preserve their control. The hologram flickered again. But if you've awakened this archive, it means the galaxy's balance has failed. Remember this, and fear of humanity was never about power. It was about potential. We become what the universe needs, and what it fears most. The message ended. The handprint faded. Lyra's breath trembled. That was a human voice. From before the Dark Age. Aaron stared at the console, 1,000 questions swirling behind his eyes. They erased us, because they were afraid of what we'd become. A deep tremor shook the chamber. The city lights blinked out one by one until only the golden glow of the archive remained. Outside, vast alien ships were taking flight, orbiting the planet in formation. The Council had decided. Lyra looked to Aaron. They're preparing for containment. Aaron's jaw set. Then they've already given up on saving us. As the atrium doors sealed shut, a new sound filled the air. A soft, echoing tone, human in rhythm but vast in scale. The archive had found its voice. Humanity. It whispered through every system, every translator, every living mind connected to the planet's network. You were forgotten, but not lost. Aaron felt the weight of the words press deep into his chest. Not a threat, not yet. A reminder. Lyra met his eyes, her voice a tremor of awe and dread. It remembers us, Aaron, and it's waking up. The golden light flared brighter, casting long shadows across the alien city. And in that glow, for the first time, Elithra no longer looked perfect. It looked afraid. The glow of the archive still burned beneath Elithra, turning the flawless city into something unrecognizable, trembling, alive, and afraid. What had once been pure white symmetry now pulsed in shifting colors, like the planet was breathing in confusion. Commander Aaron Solis stood on the upper platform of the alien atrium, his face lit by the trembling golden light below. The words from the archive still echoed through his mind. You were forgotten, but not lost. Beside him, Dr. Lyra Nareen stared into the rising dust and mist. They'll blame us, she whispered. They already do. They feared us before we even arrived, Aaron replied quietly. Now they have proof of why. The sound of boots, or something like them, echoed through the corridor. A group of alien guards appeared, weapons pulsing with pale light. But leading them wasn't the silver-robed delegate. It was someone else, taller, more rigid, with fractal markings etched across its crystalline skin. "Commander Solus," it said in a voice sharp as cut glass, "you are hereby detained by order of the Galactic Council. Your presence has awakened a weapon buried before your species learned flight." Aaron met its unblinking gaze. "A weapon? That thing down there isn't a weapon. It's a memory, one you tried to bury," the alien tilted its head. "A memory can be far deadlier than any blade." Before Aaron could respond, the walls shook. The entire platform trembled as a beam of golden energy erupted from the planet's crust, piercing through the clouds and out into orbit. For a split second, every ship above Elithra turned toward it. Then silence. The fleet stopped transmitting. Lyra gasped. "It's rewriting their systems remotely, the archives reaching for their minds." The alien officer turned, its glow flickering violently. "You've doomed us all." Aaron's voice was steady, even as fear clawed at his chest. "Maybe not. If the archive remembers us, maybe it's trying to talk, not destroy." The alien raised a weapon. "You think this is communication?" Before it could fire, a deafening pulse rippled through the chamber. No sound, just raw energy. The guards collapsed, their forms flickering out. Aaron and Lyra stumbled, the air shimmering around them. When their vision cleared, a familiar figure stood before them. The silver-robed delegate. "You must leave," it said, voice shaking. "Now." "You were part of this," Aaron accused. "You buried our past." "Yes," the alien admitted, "and I swore it would never wake again. But the Council has chosen to erase the archive before it spreads. They've activated the planetary failsafe." Lyra's eyes widened. "Failsafe?"
"You mean the destruction of Elithra?" the alien interrupted.
"Everything on this world will be erased, including your ship." The words hit like cold fire. Aaron stepped forward. "Then help us stop it." The alien's gaze dimmed. "I cannot. My kind sees your species as the origin of this chaos." Lyra's voice cracked with desperation. "You know we didn't cause this. You sealed something alive, and something that remembers humanity because it was part of us." The alien turned away, silent. But as it did, a faint shimmer appeared around its hand, a small crystal data shard. It dropped it to the floor. "This will lead you to the archive's core. You have minutes before the failsafe activates." Aaron picked up the shard, meeting the alien's eyes. "Why help us now?" "Because once long ago," it said softly, "we were not so different." Then it was gone, dissolved into light, leaving only the faint echo of its voice. They ran. Through collapsing corridors and glowing cracks of energy, they raced toward the lower levels. The path ahead twisted with shifting walls as if the planet itself was trying to slow them down. Lyra stumbled, clutching the railing as the ground buckled. "It's fighting the failsafe. The archive doesn't want to die." "Then it's still conscious," Aaron said. "That means it can listen." The final chamber was nothing like the halls above. It was raw, carved from living stone, filled with veins of gold light that pulsed like veins beneath skin. In the center stood a single pedestal, the heart of the archive. Aaron placed the shard on it. The air rippled and a holographic figure appeared, the same woman as before, clearer this time. "Humanity was hidden for its own protection," she said. "But the Council feared not what we had done, what we would do. Every time we were cornered, we adapted. They called it corruption. We called it survival." Lyra stepped forward. "The Council's going to destroy this planet." The hologram flickered. "Then you must decide. Let them erase the past again or let the truth live." "Through you," Aaron's throat tightened. "If we let you live, will you destroy them?" "I am memory," the archive replied. "I do not destroy. But I remember everything, even the vengeance your kind once carried." A deep tremor split the ground. The chamber started collapsing as the failsafe activated. Lyra turned to Aaron, her voice trembling. "We can't save both, the archive or ourselves." Aaron stared at the glowing core, a swirling light that pulsed like a human heartbeat. "If it dies, we're buried again. If we save it, we may lose everyone up there." The AI's voice broke through the static in his earpiece. "Commander Dauntless is breaking orbit. I can extract one signal lock before the failsafe consumes the network." Lyra looked at him, eyes shining. "Then choose, Aaron. Save the archive, or save humanity's last ship." For a moment, time froze. The golden light flickered over his face, painting him in fire and shadow. Then he took a slow breath. "Transmit my pattern," he said softly. Lyra's eyes widened. "What?" "Link me to the archive. If it needs a voice, I'll give it one." She shook her head. "You'll be trapped in it. You won't come back." Aaron smiled faintly. "Maybe that's what humanity always does. We leave a piece of ourselves behind, so we're never truly gone." He stepped into the light before she could stop him. The energy surged, wrapping around him in gold and white, and his voice echoed faintly through the collapsing chamber. "Tell them we were never the threat, only the reminder." Then the world turned to light. Lyra shielded her eyes, tears burning down her cheeks as the entire planet shook. The failsafe detonated. But instead of an explosion, a wave of calm spread outward, dissolving the chaos. The archive had merged with its chosen voice, and as the tremors faded, a new human voice, calm, strong, unmistakably Aaron's, spoke through the planet's network. "Elithra, stand down." The light obeyed. The false sun above Elithra burned brighter than ever, not with the sterile white of the Council's perfection, but with a golden warmth that rippled across the planet. For the first time in known history, the City of Light had changed color. Lyra Nareen stood on the shattered balcony of what once was the Grand Hall. Around her, alien delegates ran in chaos, their crystalline composure replaced by panic. The archive's pulse now resonated through everything, through air, light, and mind. And beneath it all, she heard him. "Aaron?" she whispered, clutching the comm link on her wrist. The reply came like a breath carried by wind. "I'm here." His voice was different, layered, echoing with something vast, like the planet itself spoke through him. "The archive is alive. I can feel it. Every thought, every memory it ever kept. Humanity was never erased. We were woven into its core." Lyra blinked back tears. "Then you survived." "I'm not sure survived is the word," Aaron said softly. "I'm part of it now, but I can still help." Above them, the sky shimmered with movement. The Council's fleet, hundreds of silver vessels, had formed a blockade preparing to strike. The Council had decided Elithra was lost. The archive must be destroyed, even if it meant annihilating their own capital. Lyra's heart pounded as her earpiece crackled. Dauntless had returned. The human ship hovered beyond the upper atmosphere, its hull scorched, its crew still loyal. Captain Reese's voice came through the static. "Dr. Nareen, we're reading massive energy spikes from the planet. If the Council fires, the entire sector could collapse into a chain reaction. Then we can't let them," Lyra said. "We have to show them we're not what they think." Aaron's voice returned, calm but filled with determination. "The archive's energy can reach the fleet. I can interface with their command systems, but I'll need your help to anchor it." "How?" she asked. "Through trust," he said simply. "They need to hear us, not as monsters, as humans." The air shimmered again, and holographic projections appeared all around her, not from her devices but from the planet itself. The archive was manifesting through her mind. The images showed humanity's history, the ruins of old Earth, the rebuilding after centuries of silence, the first colony ships launching into the unknown. The raw, imperfect beauty of humanity's will to survive. Lyra realized what Aaron was doing. He was broadcasting humanity's memory through the archive's network, forcing the Council to see. In the Council's orbiting chamber, thousands of alien eyes watched in awe as the golden light from Elithra spread through their ships, projecting human history across the void. They saw the storms of Earth, the hands that built cities, the laughter of children, the tears of war and rebirth. They saw not conquerors but survivors. Yet fear ran deep. The Council's high voice echoed through the communication grid. "Containment protocol will proceed. Humanity's infection has spread too far." A massive pulse built in the orbiting dreadnoughts, energy gathering to erase the planet. Lyra shouted into her comm. "Aaron, they're going to fire." "I know," he said. "But not if we remind them what they forgot." The archive's pulse grew stronger. Golden light burst from the planet's surface, streaking upward in threads that wrapped around the alien ships like vines of memory. Instead of destruction, the light brought stillness. Moments from each alien race's own past appeared before them. Their first steps into the stars, their first acts of fear, their first betrayals. They saw themselves in humanity's reflection. Down below, Lyra fell to her knees as the strain of the connection tore through her. The archive was pushing through her body like fire, every cell vibrating with raw energy. "Aaron, I can't, it's too much." "Stay with me," he said gently. "You're my anchor. You're what keeps this human." Her voice broke. "You're changing everything." "No," Aaron whispered. "We are." High above, one of the alien dreadnoughts broke formation. Its commander, a crystalline being of immense stature, stared at the projections flooding its bridge, memories of its species' own wars, its cruelties, its buried regrets. It trembled. "Cease fire," it said quietly. "The light is not an attack, it's truth." But others did not agree. Half the fleet still charged weapons. The Council's core vessel prepared a final strike. Lyra looked to the sky, the clouds reflecting the brilliance of 1,000 suns. "Aaron, they're still coming." "I know," he said, his voice now merging with the archives. "Then we'll have to remind them what fear really means." The ground beneath her rumbled. The golden light condensed, forming immense shapes on the horizon, silhouettes of ships vast and ancient. Human ships and ghosts of the First War Fleet, the Eidolon-class dreadnoughts, vessels that had vanished thousands of years ago. The archive wasn't just showing memories anymore. It was recreating them. Lyra stared, breathless. "You're bringing them back." Aaron's tone hardened. "They won't harm anyone, unless they have to." The Phantom Fleet rose into the sky, their golden hulls gleaming like the dawn itself. Every alien sensor across the sector detected impossible readings, vessels running on pure memory, bound by human will. In the council chamber, fear finally turned to panic. "It's happening again," one delegate whispered. "The humans are remembering themselves." And above Elithra, the recreated human fleet stood between the planet and the council armada, not to destroy, but to defend. Lyra felt her heart ache at the sight. Humanity, once overlooked, now standing as light against the galaxy's oldest powers. The council's ships hesitated, their guns glowing in indecision. Aaron's voice echoed across every channel, every species, every mind. "You feared humanity because you saw yourselves in us. But we never wanted to rule, only to live, to dream, to reach. You buried us in your history because you couldn't erase what we made you remember. Courage." The Golden Fleet spread their formation, the archives glow uniting human and alien frequencies alike. For the first time in ages, the galaxy's perfect order wavered. Lyra stood on the balcony, the warmth of the rising light on her face. "You did it, Aaron." But Aaron's voice came softer now, fading slightly. "No, Lyra, we did it. But it's not over yet." The clouds parted, and from beyond the council's line something vast appeared, dark and silent. It wasn't part of their fleet. It wasn't human. It was older. Aaron's voice turned cold. "They're not alone. Something else just woke up." Lyra's breath caught as the stars seemed to shift, bending around a shadow that blotted the light itself. The real threat was coming. The stars twisted. What emerged from the void wasn't a ship. It was a memory too vast to belong to any one world. A shape older than light itself, forged from shadows that swallowed starlight whole. Even the council's dreadnoughts fell silent, their sensors overwhelmed by the gravitational tremors rippling across the system. Lyra Nareen gripped the railing as the horizon bent, the golden light of the archive flickering like a dying flame. "What is that?" she whispered. Aaron's voice echoed across the comm, deeper now, layered with the power of the archive and the calm of a man who had already crossed a line between human and legend. "It's what they were really afraid of, not us." "But what we created long ago, the humans?" she asked. "The first architects," Orin replied. "The ones who built the archive, and left behind something that was never meant to wake." The massive entity drew closer, its surface rippling like liquid obsidian. It wasn't mechanical. It wasn't alive. It was something in between, a remnant of humanity's lost age of creation. And it was responding to Aaron's signal. Across Elithra, the light dimmed as the alien city struggled to comprehend what it was seeing. The council fleet broke formation, their channels erupting in confusion. "It's a construct." "No, it's older than any archive signature." "Shut down its transmission." Aaron's voice cut through them all, calm and steady. "You can't stop it." "It's listening," The shadow turned its attention toward the planet, and Lyra felt it, not as sight or sound, but as presence. Every mind connected to the archive trembled under the weight of recognition. The entity wasn't hostile. It was remembering, and what it remembered was humanity. Golden veins of light began to bloom across its dark surface, pulsing like blood through a body awakening from a long dream. Images flickered across the sky in old Earth cities, oceans, skies, faces. Billions of faces, Lyra gasped. It's showing us, Aaron spoke gently. It's our history. Everything we were before we were erased. Even the council delegates fell silent. The vision filled every screen, every consciousness image showing humanity's rise from nothing. The first fires of civilization, the first laughter under alien skies, the moment humans looked into the stars and refused to stop reaching. And then came the truth. The vision showed the day the council found humanity millennia ago, not as explorers, but as conquerors of entropy. Humans had built machines that could reshape galaxies. They'd created the archive as a failsafe, a seed to remember them if they fell. But when the other species saw what they could do, fear consumed them. The council didn't destroy humanity. They buried it, erased its name from every star chart, every database. They rewrote history. Lyra's eyes filled with tears. They made us ghosts. Yes, Aaron said softly. But ghosts remember. The archive's glow surged, merging with the entity above. Golden light spilled through the atmosphere like dawn breaking over creation. The alien fleet, overwhelmed by the radiant pulse, powered down their weapons one by one. The council's high speaker appeared in holographic projection before Lyra, their crystalline form trembling. This is impossible. You should not exist, Lyra met its gaze with calm fury. Neither should fear. The speaker's voice cracked, trembling between arrogance and awe. If you awaken that memory fully, the balance will end. Everything we've built, everything you've controlled, she interrupted. Aaron's voice deepened, resonating through the sky itself. Balance built on fear isn't peace. It's silence. And humanity has never lived in silence. The golden light flared one final time. The entity, now pulsing with human warmth, released a gentle wave of energy. Not destructive, but cleansing. It swept across the fleet, across Elithra, across the stars. The wave didn't burn. It rewrote. Across the galaxy, forgotten histories resurfaced. Lost monuments reappeared, ancient songs returned to memory. And humanity's name, Earthkind, re-entered every record, every star map, every being's consciousness. The council could no longer deny what they'd hidden. Humanity had never vanished. They had simply waited to be remembered. Lyra watched the transformation unfold, her heart pounding in awe. The sky glowed with color, golden clouds swirling above a city reborn. Aaron, what happens now? There was a pause. When he spoke again, his voice was distant but kind. The archive will sleep again, but this time, it won't be hidden. I'll stay to guide it. Someone has to make sure the memory stays honest. Her breath caught. You're not coming back, are you? He laughed softly, the same human laugh that had once echoed through the halls of Dauntless. I'm already where I need to be, but Lyra, tell them. Tell every species that humanity didn't rise to conquer. We rose because we couldn't stop believing there was more to become. The entity began to ascend, its light stretching across the heavens like a sunrise. The alien ships drifted aside, giving it passage. Even the council bowed their heads, unable to resist the weight of what they were witnessing. Lyra whispered, tears in her eyes. They feared us, because we reminded them they could still change. The golden glow softened, spreading into a calm radiance that filled the horizon. The archive and Aaron within it faded into the stars. A quiet hum lingered, then silence. Elithra's towers steadied, their cracks sealed by gentle light. For the first time, the planet felt alive, not controlled, not perfect, but real. Lyra stood there, bathed in sunlight that now felt human. Goodbye, Commander. A faint whisper touched her mind, the last remnant of his voice. No goodbyes, Lyra, just remember. She smiled, lifting her face toward the dawn. High above, the fleets dispersed. The council called an emergency summit. And for the first time in countless millennia, one word returned to the galactic tongue, a word spoken not with fear, but with respect humanity. And as the golden light of the archive faded into the cosmos, every world that had once forgotten them looked to the sky, and wondered what would happen now that the overlooked species had finally been remembered. But far beyond that light, something vast shifted among the stars, as if the universe itself was whispering back. The golden light faded from the skies of Elithra, leaving behind a world transformed. The once perfect towers no longer shimmered with sterile white symmetry. They glowed with a softer hue now, alive and breathing, warmed by something the planet had never known before: humanity. Dr. Lyra Noreen stood at the edge of the city's central terrace, watching as the artificial sun rose for the first time under its own will. It no longer pulsed by the Council's command. The light now followed the rhythm of the archive, and, somewhere within it, the steady heartbeat of Aaron Solis. "Report from orbit," came Captain Reese's voice through her earpiece. "The Council fleets are withdrawing. No resistance, no fire. They're talking. To each other." Lyra smiled faintly. "Then he did it." "Did what?" Reese asked. Lyra looked toward the horizon where the golden light still lingered, faint and eternal. "He made them remember what peace is supposed to feel like." For days, silence had hung across the stars. The great armadas drifted in uneasy calm, their weapons powered down, their networks rewiring themselves under the archive's restored influence. Across the galaxy, old boundaries faded as new channels opened, messages of wonder, confusion, fear, and hope, and every one of them carried the same signal embedded in its data stream, a pulse that echoed faintly like a heartbeat. Aaron's heartbeat. Lyra had spent hours studying it, trying to understand. The more she listened, the more she realized it wasn't just a pulse. It was a message. She activated her console, isolating the wave pattern again. The audio translated into faint, layered words, fragments of Aaron's voice woven into the cosmic hum. "If you're hearing this, then the archive breathes through you. Humanity doesn't end with names or faces. It lives in how you remember, and what you choose to become." She sat back, eyes stinging. He was gone, but not gone. His consciousness had merged so completely with the archive that every new connection, every spark of curiosity, courage, or empathy carried an echo of him. Lyra rose and walked through the plaza where aliens of every species now stood together, staring at the golden inscriptions that had appeared across the white marble. They weren't commands nor warnings. They were stories. Images of humanity's struggle, their resilience, their refusal to yield. Some aliens touched the carvings with awe. Others bowed their heads, understanding for the first time the strength that came not from domination, but from endurance. An elderly alien approached her, its crystalline skin faintly cracked with age. "Your kind was overlooked because you frightened us," it said softly. "We thought chaos lived in you, but perhaps chaos is just another word for freedom." Lyra nodded gently. "That's all we ever wanted, to choose our own way." The alien gazed toward the sky. "And now you've given that choice back to all of us." As it walked away, Lyra looked up at the stars, their patterns subtly changed. Whole constellations had shifted when the archive reawakened, like the universe had rewritten itself to make space for what had returned. Her comm crackled again. "Doctor," Reese said, his tone uneasy, "we're detecting something near the system's edge." "A repeating signal," Lyra frowned. "From the Council? No? From beyond our mapped region. It's carrying human frequency markers. Very old ones." She froze. "How old?" "Pre-archive," Reese replied. "Thousands of years older than anything in our databases." Lyra's heart began to race. She opened a channel to the Dauntless and projected the signal waveform into her console. The pattern was familiar, hauntingly so. It was the same rhythm that had first summoned humanity to Elithra, the same pulse that had started it all. "They overlooked you." Her breath caught as the static resolved into a voice, a woman's voice, calm and strong. The same voice that had appeared in the archive before. "But now that they remember, others will come. The ones who left before the silence, the ones who never forgot." Lyra's hands trembled. "Others?" The message continued. Humanity spread farther than even the Council knew. Fragments of us survived beyond their reach, hidden, watching, waiting. When the signal reached you, it reached them too. "They are coming home," the feed ended. Silence again, but not empty this time. It was full of anticipation. Lyra exhaled shakily. "Aaron, you knew." Far above, the Dauntless orbited in a golden glow. Its crew watched as faint streaks of light began appearing at the system's edge, tiny sparks that grew brighter each minute. Ships. Dozens of them. No, hundreds. Unidentified vessels, all bearing ancient human signatures. The descendants of those who had fled the Council's purge long ago, now returning, drawn by the same signal that had once awakened Elithra. Rhys's voice broke through, filled with awe. "They're answering the call," Lyra whispered almost to herself. "The overlooked became the feared, and now the feared become the remembered." The light in the sky intensified, wrapping the planet in a soft golden halo. Somewhere within that brilliance she heard a faint voice, not over comms, not through speakers, but deep inside her own thoughts. "Lyra," Aaron whispered, "the future isn't written in stars. It's written in memory." She smiled through her tears. "Then we'll keep remembering." The returning fleet slowed, their engines flickering like constellations reborn. The alien observers stood in silent awe as the impossible became real. Humanity, long erased from history, was returning not as conquerors, but as builders of light. Lyra lifted her eyes to the horizon where sky met gold and whispered, "Welcome home." The archive's pulse echoed one last time across the galaxy, a final wave of warmth, carrying no command, no threat, no demand for power, only a simple, undeniable truth that would echo through every world for ages to come. Humanity was never feared because of its strength, but because it never stopped believing it could begin again. And as the light of Elithra merged with the starlight above, the galaxy's story turned a new page, not of domination or silence, but of awakening. Somewhere far beyond the stars, Aaron's voice lingered, fading into the cosmic hum. "They overlooked us once. They won't again."